For most people, a scorpion is just a desert nightmare, a creature hiding under rocks, waiting in the dark, carrying a curved tail and a sting that humans have feared for thousands of years. But that fear is only the surface, because the true power of a scorpion is not its claws, not its armor, not even the sting itself. The real power is inside the venom, a chemical code written by evolution, drop by drop, over hundreds of millions of years. And this code does something terrifying. It does not simply damage the body. It can interfere with the signals that make the body function. Every heartbeat, every muscle contraction, every movement, every reaction to pain depends on tiny electrical gates inside living cells. These gates control the flow of sodium, potassium, calcium, and other charged particles. They are some of the smallest systems keeping life alive. And scorpion venom was shaped to target them, not like a random poison, like a biological key. A key that can enter the nervous system, disrupt communication, trigger pain, paralyze prey, or push a living body toward death. That is what makes scorpion venom different. It is not just a weapon. It is information. A molecular instruction set, a code that can tell nerves to fire, muscles to contract, signals to misfire, and survival systems to collapse. But here is the part that changes everything. The same venom that can stop life may also help scientists understand how to save it. Inside scorpion venom are molecules being studied for medicine, for drug-resistant bacteria, for immune targets, and even for helping researchers understand cancer cells. So what is scorpion venom really? A poison? A medicine? A survival machine? Or one of evolution's most dangerous forms of biological intelligence? Tonight, we are not just looking at a scorpion. We are opening one of nature's darkest files. Because hidden inside that tiny tail is a code that sits between life and death. So today, we are not just talking about a desert creature. We are opening the file on one of nature's oldest biological weapons, a creature that survived long before human civilization, long before modern medicine, long before cities, science, or written history. To understand scorpions, we have to go deeper than fear, deeper than the sting, deeper than the shadow of a tail rising in the dark. Because what looks like a simple predator is actually a survival system refined by evolution across hundreds of millions of years. Its body is armor, its claws are tools, its tail is a delivery system, and its venom is where the real story begins. This is not just poison. This is chemistry shaped by survival. A molecular code that can control nerves, muscles, pain, paralysis, and death. So before we enter the venom itself, we must begin with the creature that carries it, the ancient predator, the silent hunter, the animal evolution refused to erase. To understand scorpions, we have to begin with a fact most people never think about. Scorpions are older than almost everything humans recognize as modern. Older than cities, older than mammals, older than birds, older than flowering plants, older than dinosaurs. Their evolutionary story reaches back hundreds of millions of years, to a time when the world did not look like our world. The continents were different, the atmosphere was different, life on land was still becoming established, and long before humans ever appeared, a creature with claws, armor, and a venomous tail was already taking shape. That creature was the scorpion. And this is why scorpions feel so ancient when we look at them. They do not look like a new design. They look like something built in an earlier age of Earth, a survivor from a darker chapter of evolution, a body plan that was tested in deep time and never fully replaced. Scorpions are not insects. They are arachnids. That means they belong to the same broad animal group as spiders, mites, and ticks. They have 8 legs. They have a hard external skeleton. They have powerful front appendages called pedipalps, which form the pincers. And at the end of their segmented tail is the structure humans fear most, the stinger. But scientifically, that tail is not really a tail in the way humans imagine it. It is a specialized extension of the body. A segmented delivery system, a biological weapon arm, ending in a venom gland and a sharp sting. This is what makes the scorpion so visually powerful. Every part of its body looks like it has a purpose. The claws hold, the legs position, the armor protects, the tail delivers. and the venom decides the outcome. When people imagine predators, they often think of speed: a cheetah running across open land, an eagle diving from the sky, a shark cutting through water. But scorpions belong to a different kind of predatory tradition. They are not built for long chases. They are built for ambush, control, and precision. A scorpion waits. It hides under rocks, inside cracks, beneath bark, in burrows, or in dark, sheltered spaces. It avoids unnecessary exposure. It conserves energy. And when prey comes close enough, the ancient weapon activates. The pincers move first. They grip. They restrain. They measure the struggle. Then the tail rises, curving forward over the body like a loaded instrument. And if the prey is too strong, too dangerous, or too difficult to control, the sting comes down. This is the basic architecture of the scorpion's hunting system: claws plus venom, mechanical control plus chemical control. The pincers are the first stage. The venom is the final authority, but not every scorpion uses the same balance. Some species have large, powerful claws and may rely more heavily on physical restraint. Others have thinner claws and more potent venom systems. This tells us something important. Evolution does not create one universal scorpion. It creates variations on a weapon system, different environments, different prey, different predators, different survival pressures. And across those pressures, the scorpion body was refined into one of nature's most recognizable designs. A predator that can live in deserts, forests, grasslands, mountains, caves, and human edges. A predator that can survive harsh conditions. A predator that does not need to dominate the landscape to remain dangerous. It only needs darkness, shelter, patience, and a chance to strike. This is why scorpions have survived for so long. They are not specialists trapped inside one fragile environment. They are adaptable predators. Their body plan is simple in appearance, but highly effective in function. The external skeleton reduces water loss and protects the body. The low, flat shape allows them to enter tight spaces. The pincers give them physical control over prey. The sensory structures on their body help them detect movement and vibration, and the venom gives them a chemical weapon that can work against prey far smaller, or sometimes far more dangerous, than themselves. In nature, survival is not always about being the strongest. Often, survival belongs to the organism that wastes the least. Scorpions are masters of economy. They do not need constant motion. They do not need to hunt in daylight. They do not need to expose themselves unnecessarily. They can remain hidden for long periods, waiting for the correct moment. This kind of patience is not weakness. It is strategy. A scorpion is not trying to win a race. It is trying to avoid losing energy. It is trying to avoid injury. It is trying to survive long enough to feed, reproduce, and continue the design. That is what evolution rewards. Not drama, not beauty, not human admiration, survival. And the scorpion is one of survival's oldest symbols. But there is another reason scorpions feel so unsettling. They represent a very early solution to a biological problem. How does a small predator control prey without becoming injured? For a predator, every attack carries risk. Prey fights back. Insects bite. Spiders resist. Centipedes strike. Small vertebrates can kick, twist, and escape. A predator that must physically overpower everything it eats risks damage every time it hunts. So venom changes the equation. Venom allows a predator to control a target chemically. Instead of fighting strength with strength, the scorpion uses molecules. Instead of relying only on force, it uses chemistry. This is where scorpions become more than armored arachnids. They become biochemical predators. The claw is visible. The sting is visible. But the true weapon is invisible. Hidden inside the venom gland, stored quietly until needed. And when it enters another body, the battlefield changes completely. The prey may still have legs, still have muscles, still have nerves, still have a body designed for movement. But now those systems are being interfered with. The scorpion does not need to understand the chemistry. It does not need intelligence in a human sense. It only carries the result of millions of years of selection. Every ancestor whose venom worked better had a higher chance of survival. Every ancestor that wasted less venom had an advantage. Every ancestor that could subdue prey efficiently passed something forward. Over time, the sting became more than a defensive tool. It became a code delivery system, and that is why the scorpion's tail is so important. It is not just a weapon because it is sharp. It is a weapon because it injects information, chemical information, instructions that interfere with the normal operation of another living body. This is the beginning of the idea behind the title, the code of life and death, because life depends on communication. Cells communicate, nerves communicate. Muscles respond. Signals move through living tissue, and scorpion venom evolved to interrupt those signals. But before we enter that chemistry, before we discuss ion channels, paralysis, pain, and medical research, we have to respect the body that carries the venom. Because the venom did not evolve alone. It evolved as part of a complete survival system. The scorpion's body is a delivery platform. Its behavior is the strategy. Its tail is the weapon arm. Its venom is the payload. And its patience is what allows the entire system to work. Look at a scorpion under normal light, and it already seems ancient. But under ultraviolet light, many scorpions glow with an eerie blue-green fluorescence. Scientists still study the exact functions and possibilities behind this glow. But visually, it only deepens the feeling that scorpions belong to an older, stranger world. A creature that hides in darkness, yet lights up under invisible wavelengths. A predator that seems simple, yet carries one of the most complex chemical weapons in the animal kingdom. And that contrast is what makes scorpions so powerful as a documentary subject. They are both primitive-looking and highly sophisticated. They look like relics, but function like precision machines. They move slowly, but strike with terrifying speed when needed. They seem small, but their venom can affect systems far deeper than the skin. The more we study them, the more obvious it becomes. Scorpions are not accidents of nature. They are not just frightening desert creatures. They are survivors of deep time. They are ancient predators built around one of evolution's most effective tools, venom. And that venom did not exist only to kill. It existed to solve problems. How to hunt, how to defend, how to conserve energy, how to survive in hostile environments, how to control another body without a prolonged battle. This is what makes the scorpion an ancient weapon. Not because it is evil, not because it is aggressive toward humans by nature, but because its body is organized around survival through control. The claws control space. The exoskeleton controls exposure. The hiding behavior controls risk. The tail controls distance. And the venom controls life processes inside the prey. Everything points toward one central principle: survive by striking precisely. Not constantly, not randomly, precisely. That is the scorpion's ancient strategy, and it has worked for hundreds of millions of years. While countless other species rose and disappeared, while climates changed, while continents shifted, while ecosystems collapsed and rebuilt themselves, scorpions remained. Not unchanged in every detail, but recognizable. Still armored, still patient, still carrying the curved tail, still holding the same terrifying promise: come too close, and chemistry will decide what happens next. This is where the real story begins, because the scorpion's body explains the weapon, but the venom explains the code. And once we enter that chemistry, we discover something far more disturbing than a sting. We discover that scorpion venom does not simply attack flesh. It targets the signals that keep bodies alive. The scorpion's body is ancient, but its venom is microscopic precision. To the human eye, venom looks simple. A tiny drop of liquid, clear, almost invisible, released from the end of a curved tail. But inside that drop is one of the most complex chemical weapons in nature. A mixture of peptides, proteins, salts, enzymes, and small molecules, each shaped by evolution to interfere with life at the smallest level. This is where the scorpion stops being just a predator and becomes something far more disturbing. A creature carrying chemical instructions capable of entering another body and changing the way that body communicates with itself. Because life is communication. Every living body depends on signals. Your heart beats because electrical patterns move through cardiac tissue. Your muscles contract because nerve signals tell them when to move. Your hand pulls away from pain because information travels through nerve cells. Your lungs, reflexes, movement, balance, and awareness all depend on cells sending signals with incredible timing. And those signals depend on gates, tiny molecular gates, ion channels. These channels sit inside cell membranes and control the movement of charged particles such as sodium, potassium, calcium, and chloride. To most people, those words sound like chemistry. But inside the body, they are not just chemicals. They are the language of electricity. Sodium moves, potassium moves, calcium moves, signals rise and fall, nerves fire, muscles respond, the body stays alive, and scorpion venom was shaped to target this language, not by breaking bones, not by tearing flesh, not by using brute force, but by interfering with the electrical code of life. That is why the sting is so powerful. The sting is only the delivery system. The venom is the message. And once that message enters the body of prey, the prey's own biology begins to turn against it. Some scorpion toxins affect sodium channels. Sodium channels are crucial for action potentials, the electrical impulses that allow nerves to send messages. When these channels work normally, they open and close with precise timing. A nerve cell fires, then resets. A signal moves, then stops. Timing is everything, but certain scorpion toxins can disturb that timing. They can alter how sodium channels open, close, or recover. And when that happens, nerve signaling becomes unstable. Signals may fire too strongly, or at the wrong time, or fail to shut down properly. To the prey, this can mean intense pain, uncontrolled movement, paralysis, or collapse. Imagine a communication network where every switch begins malfunctioning. Messages fire without order. Warnings become overwhelming. Muscles receive distorted instructions. The body loses control over its own systems. This is not random damage. This is chemical interference. The venom does not need to destroy the entire body. It only needs to disrupt the instructions that keep the body coordinated. That is the genius of neurotoxic venom. It turns the nervous system into the battlefield. But sodium channels are only one part of the story. Scorpion venoms also contain toxins that affect potassium channels. Potassium channels are essential for helping cells return to a resting state after electrical activity. If sodium helps start the signal, potassium helps reset the system. Without proper potassium channel function, nerve and muscle cells cannot maintain normal rhythm. The electrical balance becomes unstable. The body's signaling machinery loses precision. This is why potassium channel toxins are so important in venom science. They do not simply cause pain. They reveal how deeply life depends on electrical balance. One tiny peptide from venom can bind to one type of channel, and suddenly scientists can see how that channel works. The same molecule that helps a scorpion control prey can help researchers understand nerve cells, immune cells, muscles, and disease. But inside the hunt, there is no laboratory. There is only predator and prey. The scorpion strikes. The venom enters. And the prey's electrical system begins to change. For a small insect, spider, or arthropod prey, this can happen quickly. The prey may struggle, then slow, then lose coordination. The claws hold it. The venom weakens it. The tail becomes the final authority. This combination is what makes the scorpion so efficient. It does not need to fight a long battle. Long battles are dangerous. A struggling prey animal can bite back. It can injure the predator. It can escape. It can waste the scorpion's energy. Venom reduces that risk. It is not only a killing tool, it is a control tool. The scorpion uses chemistry to shorten the conflict. And that matters because scorpions are energy economists. They often live in harsh environments where every movement matters. Every failed hunt has a cost. Every injury can become fatal. Every wasted sting uses valuable venom that takes time and energy to replenish. So venom is not used carelessly. It is part of a decision system. Some scorpions may use their pincers first. They grip. They test. They feel the strength of the prey. If the prey is manageable, the claws may be enough. If the prey is dangerous or resistant, the sting becomes necessary. This tells us something important. The scorpion is not a mindless stinging machine. It is an animal balancing risk, energy, and survival. The venom is powerful, but expensive. And evolution does not reward waste. This is why scorpion venom is not just a poison. It is a resource, a chemical investment, a biological currency. used when the reward is worth the cost. And inside that resource are molecules refined across ancient predator-prey warfare. Every prey species that resisted venom created pressure for better venom. Every predator that delivered venom more efficiently gained advantage. Every molecular improvement that helped immobilize prey was preserved. Over millions of years, the venom became more specialized. A library of chemical tools. Some tools affect insects more strongly. Some affect mammals more seriously. Some target particular channel types. Some produce pain. Some produce paralysis. Some support defense. Some support hunting. This is why scorpion venom is not one thing. It is a cocktail, a chemical arsenal. A single scorpion's venom may contain many components, each with different targets and effects. To call it poison is too simple. Poison suggests something crude. Scorpion venom is not crude. It is selective, structured, biological. Its molecules often fold into stable shapes, held together by chemical bonds that allow them to survive long enough to reach their targets. These small peptides can act like keys, but they do not unlock doors in the way life expects. They jam them, hold them open, hold them closed, change their timing, disturb the gate. And when the gate controls electricity inside nerves, a tiny change can become a major biological event. This is why the phrase codes of life and death matters. Because venom operates where life's code becomes action, not DNA code, electrical code, cellular code, the code of signals moving through membranes. A heartbeat is a code. A nerve impulse is a code. A muscle contraction is a code. Pain is a code. Paralysis is what happens when that code is disrupted. The scorpion's venom is dangerous because it speaks to the body in a language the body cannot ignore. It enters the system and changes the message. For prey, the result can be the end. For humans, the effects depend on the species, the amount of venom, the person's body size, health, and the type of toxin involved. Most scorpion stings are painful, but not deadly. But some medically important species can cause severe symptoms, especially in vulnerable people. This is important to say clearly. Scorpions are not all equally dangerous. The world contains many species, and only a minority are considered highly dangerous to humans. But the dangerous ones remind us what venom can do when its chemistry aligns with human biology. Pain, sweating, muscle twitching, abnormal heart activity, breathing difficulty, system-wide stress. These symptoms do not happen because the scorpion is large. They happen because the venom interacts with systems that control the body. That is the terrifying elegance of chemical weapons in nature. Size does not matter the way humans expect. A small animal can influence a much larger animal if its molecules reach the right target. A scorpion does not need to overpower a mammal. It only needs to inject chemistry that touches the nervous system. This is why venom has fascinated scientists for decades. It is both dangerous and informative. A toxin is not only something that harms, it is also something that reveals. When a venom peptide blocks a potassium channel, scientists learn about that channel. When another toxin modifies sodium channel activity, scientists learn about nerve signaling. When venom compounds bind selectively to certain biological targets, they become tools for understanding the body. But before venom becomes a tool in a laboratory, it is a survival weapon in the wild. The scorpion did not evolve venom for human medicine. It evolved venom because survival demanded control. Control over prey, control over predators, control over risk, control over energy. In the darkness, under a rock or inside a burrow, a scorpion does not have the luxury of strength alone. It survives because its body carries a chemical advantage, and that advantage is delivered with terrifying precision. The tail rises, the stinger enters, the venom flows. And then the invisible part begins. No dramatic explosion, no visible fire, no immediate destruction from the outside, just molecules moving through tissue, seeking channels, binding to targets, altering signals, changing the electrical conversation of life. That is the chemistry of paralysis, not magic, not myth, not supernatural darkness. A real biological system. A predator's chemical code entering another body and interfering with the signals that allow that body to move. This is why scorpions have remained powerful for so long. Their weapon is not only physical, it is molecular. A claw can hold prey. A shell can protect the body. A burrow can provide shelter. But venom allows a small animal to reach into the operating system of another living creature. And once we understand that, the scorpion becomes far more than a desert fear. It becomes a symbol of one of evolution's deepest truths. Life can be controlled at the smallest scale. A tiny peptide, a tiny channel, a tiny gate. And the difference between movement and paralysis, between escape and capture, between life and death, can depend on whether that gate opens or closes at the right time. But the story does not end with death, because the same molecules that make scorpion venom dangerous are also the molecules that make it valuable. The same precision that can shut down prey can help scientists target disease. The same chemical keys that affect nerves and cells may help researchers design new tools for medicine. And that is where scorpion venom becomes even stranger. Because inside the ancient weapon, there may also be a pharmacy. The same venom that can paralyze prey may also help scientists understand how to save human life. At first, that sounds impossible. How can something built for pain, control, and death become part of medicine? How can a substance designed by evolution to disable living systems become useful inside a laboratory? But this is where scorpion venom becomes one of the most fascinating contradictions in nature. Because venom is not just poison. Venom is precision. And in medicine, precision is everything. A crude poison damages broadly. It attacks many things at once. It harms because it cannot distinguish. But many venom molecules are different. They are shaped to interact with specific biological targets. A channel, a receptor, a membrane, a cell type, a signaling system. This is why scientists study venom. Not because venom is safe. Not because venom should be used casually. Not because raw venom is medicine, but because inside venom are molecules that evolution has already tested for millions of years. Molecules that can find targets inside living bodies with astonishing accuracy. To a scorpion, those molecules help hunt and defend. To a scientist, they can become clues. Tools. Starting points. Possible templates for future drugs. This is the strange transformation of venom. In the wild, it is a weapon. In the laboratory, it becomes information. And perhaps the most famous example from scorpion venom is a molecule called chlorotoxin. Chlorotoxin comes from the venom of the deathstalker scorpion, a name that sounds like it belongs in mythology, but the molecule itself is very real. It is a small peptide, only a short chain of amino acids. Yet it attracted scientific attention because of something extraordinary. It appeared to bind preferentially to certain tumor cells, especially glioma cells, compared with normal brain tissue. For researchers studying brain tumors, that was a stunning possibility, because one of the greatest challenges in cancer surgery is not always removing the tumor. It is knowing exactly where the tumor ends. In the brain, the difference between tumor and healthy tissue can be terrifyingly small. Remove too little, and cancer may remain. Remove too much, and the patient may lose important brain function. Surgeons need boundaries. They need contrast. They need a way to see what the naked eye cannot always reveal. And this is where venom becomes strangely useful. If a venom-derived molecule can seek out tumor cells, then scientists can attach something visible to it, a fluorescent dye, a signal, a glow that helps reveal where hidden cancer cells may be. This is the idea behind so-called tumor painting. The goal is not to use venom as a poison. The goal is to use a venom-derived targeting molecule as a guide, a biological tracker, a molecular flashlight, something that may help doctors see diseased tissue more clearly. Think about how strange that is. A molecule evolved in a scorpion's venom, possibly to affect prey, is studied by scientists because it may help identify some of the most difficult cancer cells in the human body. A desert predator becomes part of a medical investigation. A venom peptide becomes a map. The sting becomes a clue. This does not mean scorpion venom cures cancer. It does not mean venom is a miracle treatment. Science does not work that way. But it means venom may contain molecular designs that humans would never have invented from scratch. Evolution built those designs through survival pressure. Scientists study them to understand what they can teach us. and chlorotoxin is only one example. Scorpion venom is filled with peptides that interact with ion channels. In Chapter 2, we saw how dangerous that can be. Ion channels control electrical signaling. They influence nerves, muscles, heart rhythm, immune activity, pain, movement. When venom disrupts those channels in prey, it can cause paralysis or death. But in research, those same molecules can help scientists identify how channels work. A toxin that blocks a potassium channel can reveal what that channel does. A toxin that alters sodium channel behavior can help scientists understand nerve signaling. A toxin that binds selectively to a cellular target can become a probe. In biology, sometimes the best way to understand a system is to find a molecule that can disturb it precisely. Venom does that. It interferes. But it interferes with structure, with selectivity, with evolutionary refinement. That is why venom peptides have become valuable research tools. They can act like molecular keys. Some fit into very specific locks, and once scientists understand the lock, they can understand the system behind it. This is where scorpion venom sits at the edge between danger and discovery. The same precision that makes it harmful also makes it useful. The same targeting ability that helps a predator control prey can help a researcher locate a biological pathway. And the same molecules that can disturb life may help medicine learn how life operates. But cancer imaging is not the only area where scorpion venom has attracted attention. Researchers have also studied venom-derived peptides for antimicrobial activity. This matters because antibiotic resistance is one of the major medical challenges of the modern world. Bacteria evolve. They adapt. They survive drugs that once killed them. And as resistance increases, scientists are forced to search in unusual places for new antimicrobial ideas. Venoms are one of those places. Why? Because venom often contains molecules designed to interact with membranes and biological defenses. Some antimicrobial peptides can disrupt bacterial membranes. Others may interfere with microbial survival. In nature, these molecules may help venomous animals protect their prey from microbes or defend themselves from infection. In medicine, they may inspire future antimicrobial strategies. Again, this does not mean scorpion venom can simply be used as an antibiotic. Raw venom is dangerous and chemically complex. A venom peptide that kills bacteria may also harm human cells. A molecule that works in a dish may fail in the body. A compound that works in mice may never become a human medicine. There are many steps between discovery and treatment: safety, dosage, stability, delivery, cost, side effects, clinical testing. But the value of venom research is that it opens doors. It gives scientists starting points. Evolution has already created millions of molecular experiments across the animal kingdom. Venom is one of the richest libraries of those experiments, and scorpions have contributed to that library for hundreds of millions of years. Every venom component tells a story of prey resisting, predators adapting, cells being targeted, signals being altered, life and death being negotiated at the molecular level. For medicine, that history is valuable, because human disease also operates at the molecular level. Cancer is not just a lump. It is cells behaving wrongly. Bacteria are not just invisible enemies. They are living systems with membranes, proteins, and survival strategies. Pain is not just a feeling. It is electrical and chemical signaling. Immune disease is not just weakness. It is communication inside the body becoming misdirected. And scorpion venom speaks to these systems, dangerously in the wild, carefully in the laboratory. This is why scientists do not look at venom only as something to fear. They look at it as a library, a coded archive, a collection of molecules that can reveal biological secrets. But there is a deeper lesson here. Medicine often begins with nature. Many human drugs have roots in natural compounds: plants, fungi, bacteria, marine organisms, venomous animals. The natural world has spent billions of years creating chemical solutions to biological problems. Some molecules defend, some attack, some communicate, some block, some activate, some bind to targets with almost unimaginable precision. Humans did not invent chemistry. We discovered nature had already been writing it. And scorpion venom is one of nature's darker texts. It is not gentle. It is not safe. It is not something to romanticize, but it is powerful because it is specific. The scorpion did not evolve venom to help humans. It evolved venom to survive, to hunt, to defend, to reduce risk, to control prey. And yet, because life uses shared systems, the same molecules that affect prey can teach humans about our own bodies. This is one of evolution's strangest gifts. A weapon can become a microscope. A toxin can become a map. A molecule designed for death can point toward healing. That is why scorpion venom stands between two worlds. In one world, it is injected by a predator under a rock. In the other, it is isolated, studied, modified, and tested by scientists under controlled conditions. In one world, it stops prey from escaping. In the other, it may help reveal tumor boundaries. In one world, it disrupts nerve signals. In the other, it helps researchers understand those signals. The molecule is not moral. It is not good or evil. It simply does what its shape allows it to do. Context changes everything. Dose changes everything. Target changes everything. Control changes everything. This is the difference between venom and medicine. Venom in the wild is uncontrolled. Medicine is controlled. Venom is a cocktail. Medicine tries to isolate one component. Venom is delivered by a sting. Medicine requires careful testing, purification, and design. Venom evolved for the scorpion. Medicine must be engineered for the patient. That is why the journey from venom to treatment is difficult. A promising molecule is only the beginning. Scientists must understand how it works. They must modify it if needed. They must reduce harmful effects. They must test it in cells, then animals, then humans. And many promising compounds fail before they ever become approved treatments. But even failure can teach. Because every venom molecule studied adds to the map of biology. Every interaction reveals something. Every target tells scientists more about how cells behave. This is why scorpion venom remains important even when it does not become a drug. It is a research tool, a molecular probe, a way of asking the body questions. What does this channel do? What cells does this peptide bind? Can this molecule distinguish healthy tissue from diseased tissue? Can this structure inspire something safer? Can this dangerous design be transformed into a controlled technology? These are the questions that turn venom into science. And they show us something profound. The line between poison and medicine is not always the molecule itself. Sometimes the difference is knowledge, understanding, control. A scorpion's sting in the wild can be dangerous. A purified venom-derived peptide in a laboratory can become a tool. The same natural design can carry fear in one context and possibility in another. That is the code of life and death, not a mystical code, a biological one. A molecule enters a body. It binds to a target. The target responds. The outcome depends on the system. In prey, the outcome may be paralysis. In research, the outcome may be discovery. In future medicine, under the right conditions, the outcome may be treatment. This is why scorpion venom is so fascinating. It forces us to rethink what danger means. The most dangerous things in nature are not always useless to us. Sometimes danger is a sign of power. Power that must be respected. Power that must be understood. Power that, if controlled, can become something entirely different. Scorpion venom is not medicine by itself, but it contains molecules that may help medicine move forward. It contains structures that reveal how nerves work, targets that may help identify disease cells, peptides that may inspire antimicrobial research, and chemical designs that remind scientists that nature's weapons are also nature's experiments. The scorpion never intended any of this. It did not evolve for hospitals. It did not evolve for surgery. It did not evolve for drug discovery. It evolved to survive in darkness. But in surviving, it created chemistry so precise that humans are still trying to understand it. And that is the strange beauty of venom. It is terrifying because it can harm, but it is valuable because it can teach. The sting belongs to the scorpion, but the code inside it belongs to biology. And biology does not separate life and death as neatly as humans do. The same system that kills prey can reveal disease. The same peptide that blocks a channel can explain a nerve. The same venom that frightens us can guide research toward healing. That is why scorpion venom is more than a weapon. It is a chemical archive, a dark library of survival molecules. And inside that library, scientists are searching for answers. Not because venom is safe, but because venom is precise. And precision is one of the most important goals in modern medicine. A future cancer tool may need precision. A future antimicrobial may need precision. A future pain treatment may need precision. A future neurological discovery may need precision. And scorpion venom has been refining precision since long before humans existed. This is the paradox at the center of Chapter 3. The venom that can bring death may also point toward life. The molecule that disables prey may help reveal disease. The ancient weapon may become a modern clue. And that brings us to the final chapter. Because if scorpion venom can be both poison and possibility, then we have to ask the deeper question. What does this venom truly represent? Is it a weapon? A medicine? A survival code? Or proof that evolution writes the language of life and death in the same molecule? By now, the scorpion is no longer just a creature with a sting. It is an ancient predator, a chemical engineer, a survivor of deep time, a body built around patience, and a tail carrying molecules powerful enough to interfere with the signals of life. But the final question is bigger than the scorpion itself. What does this venom really represent? Is it only a weapon? Is it only a poison? Is it only a tool for hunting and defense? Or is it something deeper? A biological code written by evolution on the edge between life and death. To answer that, we have to step back from the sting, back from the venom gland, back from the prey, back from the laboratory, and look at venom as one of nature's oldest forms of information. Because venom is not chaos. It is not random destruction. It is not simply liquid fear. Venom is structured. It contains molecules shaped to interact with living systems. It carries instructions. Not instructions written in words, but instructions written in chemistry. A venom peptide enters a body. It finds a target. It binds. It changes the behavior of a channel, a receptor, a membrane, or a signal. And from that microscopic interaction, a much larger outcome begins. Pain, paralysis, immobilization, defense, escape, death, or in another context, research, imaging, discovery, medicine. That is the paradox of scorpion venom. The same molecule can be terrifying in one setting and valuable in another. The same precision that helps a predator survive can help a scientist understand disease. The same chemical key that disrupts prey can reveal hidden doors inside human biology. This is why scorpion venom feels like a code of life and death, because the molecule itself is not good, and it is not evil. It simply has a shape, a target, a function. The outcome depends on where it is delivered, how much is delivered, what it binds to, and whether humans understand it well enough to control it. In the wild, the scorpion's venom belongs to survival. A scorpion does not sting because it wants drama. It stings because survival is dangerous. Prey can injure it. Predators can kill it. A failed hunt wastes energy. A careless encounter can end its life. So venom gives the scorpion control. Control over prey. Control over risk. Control over distance. Control over the outcome of a violent moment. But venom also carries cost. It takes biological energy to produce. It is not infinite. It is not something to waste. So the scorpion's body, behavior, and venom form one complete system. The claws test. The body hides. The senses detect movement. The tail waits. And the venom is reserved for the moment when chemistry becomes necessary. That is the first meaning of the code. Venom is survival compressed into molecules. But there is a second meaning. Venom is also a record of evolutionary conflict. Every predator and prey relationship creates pressure. Prey evolve resistance. Predators evolve better weapons. Targets shift. Molecules change. Venom becomes more refined. The prey that survives today shapes the venom of tomorrow. And across millions of generations, this battle writes itself into chemistry. This is why venom is so diverse. A scorpion's venom is not a single, simple poison. It is a library, a molecular archive. Inside, it are tools shaped by ancient struggles. Some molecules affect ion channels. Some influence nerve signaling. Some may help immobilize prey. Some may help defend against predators. Some may have effects scientists are still trying to understand. And that matters because every molecule tells a story about what the scorpion had to overcome, a story about what its prey could survive, a story about how life fought life until chemistry became a weapon. When humans look at a scorpion, we see the tail. Evolution sees the history inside the venom. This is why the title of this episode matters. The code of life and death is not a fantasy idea. It is a biological truth. Life depends on communication. Nerves communicate with electricity. Muscles communicate through signals. Cells communicate through channels and receptors. The body is not just flesh. It is a network of messages. And scorpion venom can interfere with those messages. That is what makes it dangerous. It does not need to destroy the whole body. It only needs to disturb the right signals. If a sodium channel behaves differently, nerve firing changes. If a potassium channel is blocked, electrical reset becomes altered. If a calcium-related pathway is affected, cellular behavior can shift. Tiny changes at the molecular scale can become major consequences at the body scale. This is why venom is so powerful. It operates below the level of ordinary human perception. You cannot see an ion channel open. You cannot see a peptide bind. You cannot see the electrical gate malfunction. But the body feels the outcome. Pain, spasm, weakness, panic, paralysis, system stress. This is the invisible violence of venom. A fight too small to see, but large enough to decide survival. And yet, this same invisibility is why venom is valuable to science, because medicine also works at hidden scales. A doctor may see symptoms: a tumor, an infection, pain, inflammation. But beneath those visible problems are molecular events: cells dividing incorrectly, bacteria resisting drugs, immune cells overreacting, nerves firing in abnormal patterns, channels behaving differently, proteins binding or failing to bind. Medicine is the art of changing those hidden events safely. And venom is already a natural system for changing hidden events. That is why researchers study it. Not because venom is gentle, but because it is specific. And specificity is one of the hardest things in medicine. A powerful treatment that cannot distinguish between healthy and diseased tissue can become dangerous. A molecule that attacks too broadly can cause harm. But a molecule that binds selectively, a molecule that recognizes a particular target, a molecule that behaves like a key, can become the beginning of a medical tool. This is where scorpion venom becomes almost unbelievable. A predator's weapon may help scientists find targets. A toxin may become a probe. A venom peptide may become a guide. A sting from nature may point toward a technology humans are still learning how to build. The most famous example is chlorotoxin, a peptide from the deathstalker scorpion. Scientists have studied it because of its ability to bind certain tumor cells, especially in glioma research. By attaching a fluorescent marker to a venom-derived targeting molecule, researchers have explored ways to make cancer cells easier to see during surgery. That idea is powerful, not because venom becomes a cure by itself, but because a molecule from venom may help reveal what the human eye cannot easily separate: healthy tissue, diseased tissue, boundary, invasion, hidden spread. In that context, the same evolutionary precision that once helped a scorpion survive may help a surgeon see. That is the second face of venom. In the wild, it hides inside a tail. In the laboratory, it becomes a tool. In prey, it may mean the end. In science, it may become a beginning. This is why scorpion venom refuses to fit into one simple category. Call it poison, and you miss the precision. Call it medicine, and you ignore the danger. Call it a weapon, and you forget that weapons can teach us. Call it a miracle, and you leave science behind. The truth is more complex. Scorpion venom is a natural chemical system, dangerous in its original form, powerful because of its targets, valuable because of its information, and meaningful because it shows how evolution solves problems without morality. Nature does not design for human comfort. It designs for survival. A venom molecule does not care whether it kills prey or helps a scientist. It only behaves according to its structure. Humans create meaning when we understand it. That is what separates venom from medicine. Knowledge, control, dose, purification, testing, context. Without control, venom is danger. With understanding, a venom-derived molecule may become a tool. This lesson appears again and again in nature. The same world that produces toxins also produces antibiotics. The same organisms that cause fear can inspire treatment. The same ecosystems that hide danger also contain solutions. Nature is not simple. It is not divided cleanly into good and bad. It is systems layered inside systems. And scorpion venom is one of the clearest examples. A weapon that can harm. A library that can teach, a code that can kill, a code that may help preserve life. This is why scorpions deserve more than fear. Fear is understandable. A venomous sting can be painful. Some species can be medically dangerous, and humans should respect them. But fear alone is too small. Scorpions are not monsters. They are survivors. They are ancient arachnids carrying a chemical inheritance from deep time. They are predators shaped by darkness, scarcity, danger, and patience. They are proof that small animals can influence large bodies by targeting the right systems. They are proof that evolution does not need size to create power. A scorpion does not need teeth like a lion. It does not need speed like a falcon. It does not need mass like a crocodile. It needs a tail, a gland, a needle, and chemistry. That is enough. Because the true battlefield is not always visible. Sometimes the real battle happens inside nerves, inside muscles, inside membranes, inside microscopic gates that open and close to keep a body alive. And scorpion venom speaks to those gates. That is the final meaning of the code. Life is controlled by signals. Death can begin when those signals fail. And scorpion venom exists at the point where those two realities meet. A molecule binds, a channel changes, a signal misfires, a muscle stops. A prey animal collapses, or a scientist observes. A target is revealed. A cancer boundary becomes clearer. A new research path begins. The same kind of precision. Two very different outcomes. That is why this venom sits between life and death. It is not magic. It is not mythology. It is not supernatural evil hidden in a desert creature. It is biology. A ruthless, elegant, ancient form of biology. And perhaps that is what makes it even more powerful. Because the scorpion does not need to know what it carries. It does not understand ion channels. It does not understand medicine. It does not understand cancer research. It does not understand the fear humans feel when the tail rises. It simply carries the code. A code written before human language, before laboratories, before cities. Before the first story was ever told about a venomous creature in the dark. For hundreds of millions of years, scorpions have walked through Earth's changing environments, armored, silent, patient, and armed with chemistry. They survived by hiding when needed, stinging when necessary, waiting when energy mattered, and using molecules where brute force would fail. That is why they remain one of nature's most extraordinary predators. Not because they are the biggest, not because they are the fastest, but because they carry one of evolution's most precise weapons. A venom that can control signals, a venom that can paralyze prey, a venom that can terrify humans, and a venom that may help science understand life itself. So the next time you see a scorpion, do not see only a creature of fear. See a survivor from deep time. See an ancient weapon system. See a living archive of chemical warfare. See a predator whose true power is not in the tail you can see, but in the molecules you cannot. Because hidden inside that sting is one of nature's darkest truths. The same code that can bring death may also help us understand life. And that is why scorpions are not simply venomous animals. They are carriers of a chemical language written by evolution on the thin line between survival and collapse, between poison and medicine, between life and death. If you found this documentary insightful, make sure to subscribe to Nature Declassified and turn on the bell icon, because in every episode, we uncover the hidden systems behind nature. And if you enjoyed this story, share it with someone who still thinks nature is simple.